Today we are taking a look at some of the best handheld gaming PCs you can buy right now or very soon in early 2023. We will start by spending a few minutes with each handheld whilst watching some gameplay and discussing the design and any standout features. Then we will take a closer look comparing the specifications, system and gaming benchmarks across different resolutions and TDPs. We finish off with our thoughts on which handheld gaming PC might be best for you. But before we get started, please take a short moment to subscribe to us if you have not already. We get many views but not so many subscribers. It helps to grow this channel and you stay up to date with new content from us at DROIX. We start off with the Neo 2. Neo have made some great progress in the handheld PC scene with their stylish designs and innovations. They have influenced other handheld manufacturers to be inspired by them, which is great for us as customers. The Neo 2 is the latest model in their range. It measures 10.4 by 4.1 by 1.42 inches, weighs 680 grams and is available in 4 colours. The display is a 7-inch touchscreen with a 1920 by 1200 resolution. A unique feature is the single sheet of glass covering the front, which looks very cool. Other standout features include hall sensor analog sticks and trigger buttons. These use magnets instead of moving parts and reduce the wear and tear as well as being more accurate. There is LED lighting around the dual analog sticks which you can customise with excellent iSpace software. iSpace transforms the Windows OS into a more console-like experience with a front end that has a built-in game launcher, access to shortcuts and commonly used features. You can also update the firmware and customise the LEDs. It's a great piece of software and we love it. The Neo 2 itself is very comfortable to hold. Neo calls it the baby sleeping position, whatever that is, but the curves and hand grips on the back do make it very comfortable to hold whilst resting on your arms or your lap or table. Portability wise, it's not going to fit in your jeans pocket, but you might be able to get away with a large jacket pocket. In reality, you are looking at a bag or backpack. The official carry case is very good quality and keeps it safe from scratches and bumps. There is also an official docking station which has plenty of ports to use, including HDMI and Ethernet. For us, the Neo 2 really stands out as an innovative handheld with a great design, decent sized screen and form factor that is comfortable to hold and play on. The iSpace software really makes it stand out and is something other manufacturers should take note of. We have a full review of the Neo 2 and most of the other handhelds featured in this video. The link is in the description if you want to learn more about them. GPD are the OGs when it comes to Windows gaming handheld PCs. The first of the 2 handhelds today is the GPD WIN MAX 2. The WIN MAX 2 is overall the largest and heaviest of our featured handhelds, measuring 8.9 by 6.2 by 0.9 inches when folded, and it weighs 1005 grams. The display is a 10.1 inch touchscreen at 1920 by 1200 resolution and it supports up to 2560 by 1600, which is the highest resolution out of all the handhelds. The quality is very good and really stands out with bright, vibrant colours and clear text. There are a few standout features found on the GPD WIN MAX 2. With it being a laptop style design, it means we can get a backlit keyboard that is very useful for day-to-day use. There are 2 metal plates which can be removed to reveal the gaming controls. You can use the Max 2 as a laptop during the day for work, as well as a gaming handheld on the commute home for example. There's also a 2 megapixel eye refresh rate camera which is good for video calls. A separately sold 4G module can be installed internally, giving you internet access wherever you are. GPD does include their motion assist software, which is mainly for the gyrometer setup. However, you can change the TDP there as well. A new feature just added dynamically adjusts the TDP on demand, which is great for battery life and performance. It's all fairly basic but functional. We hope to see a more user-friendly UI from GPD in the future. For portability, it's not going to fit in any jacket pockets and would definitely require a bag or backpack to carry around. There is an official protective case to keep it safe from scratches and light bumps. The WIN MAX 2 does not have an official dock, though it doesn't really need one, as it does already have a fair number of ports including a HDMI and SD card readers. The GPD WIN MAX 2 is a great mix of both professional and entertainment in a handheld gaming PC. We like the metal covers that hide the gaming controls, so you can use it in the work environment without any funny looks. The screen size and keyboard are the two main standouts, making it great for day-to-day use, as well as gaming and entertainment on a larger screen. The ONEXPLAYER MINI Pro is the smaller model in the range, measuring 4.9 by 4.17 by 0.90 inches and weighing 599 grams. The display is a 7-inch IPS touchscreen with a 1200p resolution. It's very clear to see text and the colours and brightness are great, though not as good as the Neo 2 to compare. The ONEXPLAYER handhelds are perhaps the most plain looking of the ones featured today, with a black and orange or white and orange theme, though it does have some very cool LED lighting running along the sides of the handheld which lights up your hands. It also has Hall sensor analog sticks, which is good to see included, but other than that there's nothing really that stands out amongst the others. ONEXPLAYER does include their own software, which you can access by pressing the dedicated button on the handheld. Whilst it is not as feature packed as iSpace for example, it does have all the commonly used functions and shortcuts. You can increase the TDP, fan speed and the LED lighting colours amongst others. Again, it's basic but functional. The ONEXPLAYER MINI Pro is slightly less comfortable to hold when compared to other handhelds. It's perfectly fine for extended gaming sessions, but I did find the hand grips a little too small for a perfect fit. Like the Neo 2, portability is fine. It won't fit in a trouser pocket, but it will just about fit in a large jacket pocket with some remaining outside. It is best suited for a bag or backpack. There's an official carry case for it, which will protect from scratches and knocks, and there's also a docking station which has a nice design and plenty of ports to use. The ONEXPLAYER MINI Pro is perhaps the weakest in terms of standout features when compared to the others. Whilst there is nothing wrong with the actual handheld itself, there is nothing that screams out by me. It's fairly plain and discreet, so it won't stand out as much compared to playing on the larger model. There's a saying that good things come in small packages, and GPD has managed to pack everything into a Handheld Gaming PC measuring just 8.6 by 3.6 by 1.1 inches and weighing 598 grams. Clearly inspired by the classic Sony PSP and Vita handheld designs, the Win 4 features similar iconic D-pad and gaming buttons, even down to the hand strap hole on the bottom corner of the device. The touchscreen display is the smallest of all of the handhelds at just 6 inches. It has a native resolution of 1080p, which is great for supporting both older and newer games. The refresh rate can also be set to 40Hz as well as 60, which is great for faster performance or improved battery life. The display quality is just fine, it's bright and the colours look spot on, but I did occasionally find that some text in games was hard to read due to the smaller screen size. The screen slides up to reveal a mini keyboard that is useful for briefly typing on. For example, logging into your game accounts, naming characters, or even short text messages in chat. You wouldn't want to use it for long documents, however. Other features include a fingerprint sensor for secure logging in, and optical sensor for mouse navigation. There is some LED lighting in the shoulder buttons, which is not customizable at the time of making this video. A separately sold 4G module is also available for data transmission. Like the GPD WIN MAX 2, it includes basic but functional motion assistant and wing control software to configure the TDP and the custom buttons on the back. Again, we would like to see something like iSpace, which would look amazing on the Win 4. The GPD Win 4 is the smallest of the handhelds and remains very comfortable to play for extended periods of time. It is possible to play unsupported without your lap or a table to rest on, but you probably would want to rest on something after a while. For portability, the Win 4 wins hands down. It can fit in a large pocket on a pair of trousers, but you probably would not want to keep that there. It will however fit in a jacket pocket very easily. There is an official case to keep it secure whilst not in use, and an official dock similar to the Win 3 dock is also available. The GPD Win 4 is a perfect example of a handheld gaming PC. It is small, but it has all of the features of the larger handhelds, as well as extras such as a useful slide-out keyboard and 4G module. The Vita-like design may be controversial for some, but if you don't mind or love it, then the GPD Win 4 is an amazing handheld to consider. The Steam Deck is now far more easily available than it was last year, and it has gone on to sell over 1 million units already. The Steam Deck measures around 11.7 by 4.6 by 1.9 inches and weighs 669 grams. The display is a 7-inch IPS touchscreen with a 800p resolution. It is the lowest resolution out of all the handhelds we covered today. Despite this, the colours are decent, as is the brightness. The most immediate standout feature of the Steam Deck are the two trackpads. Some love them, some hate them, and it does take a little while getting used to. The extra width of the Steam Deck is due to the controller positioning, with the D-pad and left analog stick, as well as the right stick and buttons parallel to each other instead of the more traditional vertical placement. This does initially feel weird and take some getting used to, but it is very comfortable to switch between D-pad and stick positions, for example. The Steam Deck runs its own SteamOS operating system and is fully featured. If you have an extensive Steam library, then it's a straightforward process to download and install a game. Official game compatibility at the end of 2022 was over 7,000 of the estimated 50,000 games available, though there are more unofficial compatible games. The compatibility and installing of third-party software is one of the downsides for the Steam Deck. There is a fair bit of messing around to install third-party software when compared to Windows, where you can literally download and install whatever you want. It is for this reason we have Windows installed on our Steam Deck, as well as upgraded 1TB SSD and Hall sensor analog sticks instead of the standard ones. You do need to install controller emulation software or run the game through Steam software to get the controls working, but other than some third-party software for controlling the TDP, there are no major hurdles. Everything works very well. And you can of course install whatever you want and essentially have full compatibility with playing Windows games on a Windows OS. As hinted at, the Steam Deck is very comfortable to play on whilst resting on your lap or a desk. It's definitely not pocketable with the ultra wide size, and whilst you could get half of it in your jacket pocket, you probably would not want to. It's best suited for a bag or backpack. There are plenty of cases and docks available for the Steam Deck, so you can take your pick. The most popular argument for the Steam Deck is the price. It is a great price, over half that of other handhelds mentioned today. That is because it's subsidised by Valve and they make money back from game sales on their store. GPD, ONEXPLAYER and INEO unfortunately do not have a game store to make these costs back. The AOKZOE A1 is essentially a ONEXPLAYER full-size handheld gaming PC. We all know it's the same company, so there's no point hiding it. The A1 measures around 11.2 by 4.92 by 0.8 inches and weighs 668 grams. The display is an 8-inch IPS touchscreen running at 1920 by 1200 resolution. The brightness and colours look just fine on this and we had no issues. Like the ONEXPLAYER MINI Pro, there is nothing much that really stands out on the A1. It is available in white as well as dark blue and orange colour themes with some graphical design on it. It does have some RGB lighting on the lower half of the hand grips area, which looks nice and gives it something to stand out. There is the same rebranded ONEXPLAYER to AOKZOE software, which is accessed by pressing the dedicated button on the handheld. As before, you can change or set various settings such as the screen resolution, TDP, etc. With the AOKZOE A1 being on the larger side, it does feel quite comfortable to hold and play games on for a long period of time. Like many of the other handhelds, you will likely be resting your hands on your lap or a table, for example. The gaming controls are all within reach, but pressing the lower cluster buttons did require a little stretching. The AOKZOE A1 is not pocketable, nor one for a jacket pocket, but it will be fine for a bag or backpack. There are no official cases or peripherals for the A1, but you should be able to use the ONEXPLAYER full-size cases. As with the ONEXPLAYER MINI Pro, there's nothing that really stands out with the AOKZOE A1. If you like the Mini Pro design but wanted a larger screen, then this is perhaps a consideration, or go for the upcoming ONEXPLAYER 2. So now we know a bit more about the handheld's features, we can look a little more into the technical specifications as well as system and gaming benchmarks. Next, we have the technical specifications to compare. All, apart from the Steam Deck, feature the AMD Ryzen 6800 CPU with 680M GPU. And with the Steam Deck, we have the powerful custom AMD Zen 2 CPU with RDNA 2 GPU. For the 6800U based devices, we have a choice of 16 or 32 gigs of RAM and just 16 gigs for the Steam Deck. And for storage, we have a choice of 1 or 2 TB as standard for the 6800U devices, and only up to 512 gigs for the Steam Deck. You can of course upgrade the SSD storage on all devices, as well as use micro SD cards. The screen sizes vary depending on the model. We have 7 inches on the Neo 2, Mini Pro and Steam Deck, which for many people are just the right size. But do remember, the Steam Deck resolution is lower at just 800p compared to 1200p. The Win 4 has the smallest of the bunch at 6 inches, but with a native 1080p resolution. And finally, there is the massive 10.1 inch GPD WIN MAX 2, which can go up to 2560 by 1600. The battery life tests were conducted at full load at 15 watts TDP on the Steam Deck and 28 watts on the others. We can see that the battery lifetimes are not that far apart on 5 of the 6 devices, but do keep in mind it is at only 15 watts on the Steam Deck. The WIN MAX 2 has by far the best battery life at 2 hours 5 minutes. And onto the pricing. The prices are based on the lowest specification of each device. For the 6800U models, that's 16 gigs of RAM and 1TB of storage, and for the Steam Deck it's 16 gigs of RAM and just 64 gigs of storage. There is a considerable difference in price for the Steam Deck, but remember this is for just 64 gigs of storage, which is not much to install games on. If you add in a decent 1TB SSD upgrade, then you could be looking at around £200 extra. However, the overall cost still remains around half that of the other models thanks to the subsidised price. And now for the benchmark comparisons. Keep in mind that this is with the Steam Deck running Windows, as it's not able to run these benchmarks in some games in SteamOS. Our first benchmark results were performed on all of the handhelds ISTDP, which is 15 watts TDP on the Steam Deck and 28 on the others. We see that for the 6800U based handhelds there are very similar scores between them. We could run the benchmarks again and get different scores for each, so essentially they are around the same performance. The Steam Deck falls behind on all of the benchmark results. In the interests of fairness, we also benchmark both the Steam Deck and AOKZOE A1 at 15 watts TDP. We can see that on Windows at least, the AOKZOE A1, as well as the other handhelds, still have a noticeable performance increase over the Steam Deck. For the gaming benchmarks, we are first taking a look at the devices at their highest resolutions, which is 1200p for all apart from the Win 4, which is 1080p. The Steam Deck is not included in these results as the highest resolution is 800p. Overall, the results are in the same ballpark frames per second as each other. There will be some minor differences due to the time the benchmarks were originally performed, with game updates and graphics drivers releases in between, but they are close enough to say the devices perform roughly the same as each other, with no clear outperforming device. And on our second gaming benchmark results, which were tested at 800p except the Win 4, which was at 720p. All devices apart from the Steam Deck were tested at the maximum 28 watts TDP and the Steam Deck tested at 15. Again, the 6800U based devices perform roughly the same as each other, no surprises there. The Steam Deck does see overall lower benchmark results. This is mainly due to the 15 watts TDP limit, but unoptimised AMD Windows graphics drivers may be affecting the results to a degree. It is however interesting to see how it performs in Windows in comparison. And in our final comparison, again in the interest of fairness, we are comparing both the AOKZOE A1 and Steam Deck running at 15 watts TDP at 800p resolution. We see a much closer difference in performance between the two handhelds. For Forza, it's essentially the same frames per second, and for Cyberpunk, the Steam Deck does have a few extra frames. I would guess with some optimisation we could see the Steam Deck at least matching the AOKZOE in overall performance on Windows at 15 watts TDP. As always, I like to finish the video with my own thoughts to sum things up. Straight from the bat, the Steam Deck wins hands down in terms of pricing. If you want the cheapest handheld, then it's naturally the one to go for, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best. It has, as standard, the lowest RAM and storage specs, the lowest maximum screen resolution and lowest maximum TDP, and that's with similar battery lifetimes as the others whilst they run at a higher 28 watts TDP. The Steam Deck has its place as a cheaper with a user-friendly UI handheld, but it's not first place for anything else. If you want to go for the best performance, then at higher TDPs, the 6800U base handhelds outperform the Steam Deck. Yes, they do cost more, but also consider you can have up to 32 gigs of RAM and 2TB of storage as standard. You can't upgrade the RAM on the Steam Deck, and it will cost more for upgrading from 64 gigs to 1TB or 2TB. Another important factor is that these handhelds support higher resolutions, on which many games are perfectly playable and look amazing. And let's not forget compatibility. The SteamOS is not fully compatible with all Steam games, and installing third parties is not straightforward, but you can install Windows to resolve this. There is one final feature that we have not mentioned, which is Thunderbolt compatibility. The 6800U handhelds all feature Thunderbolt, which means you can connect peripherals such as an external GPU. With this, you can enjoy graphics at the highest settings, running much the same as what you would find on a high-end gaming PC. We will be covering this in a separate video, so don't forget to subscribe or you may miss it. If you do not have any handhelds and are looking to buy your first one, then I would recommend one of the 6800U based devices. All of the devices perform essentially the same, and it really does come down to preference. As to which one you should buy, I believe that is your choice, as most have their own standout features, software and designs, of which some may appeal more to your requirements. We recently ran a poll on our YouTube community asking what our viewers' main factors were when deciding a Windows handheld gaming PC. The results are quite interesting. Naturally, performance takes the top position, with many of the comments suggesting the best performance possible. Many people wanted their handhelds compact, pocketable if possible, with the GPD WIN 4 being a popular choice. But there were also some that desired a more fully featured handheld with a keyboard, for example, and preferred the GPD WIN MAX too. We have linked the poll in the description if you would like to read more about it. If you were to push me for my personal favourite handheld, I would choose the GPD WIN 4. For me, portability is essential. I avoid carrying any bags whenever possible. So for example, on my daily commute, the GPD WIN 4 fits in my jacket pocket. It does everything that all of the other handhelds can do, but is packed into a much smaller form factor. And not forgetting the slide up screen to access the keyboard. It's very handy for quick access and short text input, and you do use it more than you think you would. Don't agree with my choice? Let everyone know in the comments which gaming handheld PC would be yours if you could pick one right now. We are always interested to hear from our viewers their reasons why. And don't forget to check out our blog post for this video, where we will be updating throughout the year with any new handhelds that are released, such as the forthcoming ONEXPLAYER 2. Again, the link is in the description. You can learn more and order your favourite handheld gaming PC from us at DROIX.co.uk and DROIX.net for worldwide shipping. Use the discount code Handheld PC on the checkout for a 5% discount. But do note this cannot be used while there is a store-wide sale running. If you could take a moment to subscribe if you have not already, that would be greatly appreciated. As mentioned, we get many new viewers on each video, but not many subscribers. It really helps us to grow this channel, and we can continue making new content like this. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you back in our next video.